Welcome to the Empowered Podcast with Deanna Merlino, an all-encompassing personal development show where I will be sharing with you just how to transform yourself into the best version of you, both inside and out. From wellness, entrepreneurship, spirituality, and manifestation, I'll be showing you exactly how to live your best life. I will be keeping it as real and raw as it gets. So get ready to peel back the layers and really transform yourself under the surface. Because nothing is better than finding your purpose and living this life as your true, authentic self.
All right, Empowered fam, this is going to get crazy. Today's going to get wild. So thank goodness y'all can't see me because I look rough. Today, you're going to hear this on Monday, 4/24. But for me, this is Thursday, the 20th. So the day before the retreat. And I have been prepping all day and I realized I need to record an episode. So I look rough. Thank goodness you won't see me. And I just have so much to catch you up on because, I don't know what we're walking into here for the retreat this weekend. And this episode's going to seem very out there for some of you, but we're doing it. I feel like at this point, if you're here and still listening, it's because you enjoy listening to these stories or you're interested or you at least love me. So you still support me, or you're also on this journey and you appreciate the insight. So anyhow, okay, where do we start? I really hope I don't forget anything because this has been a week consistently of an ongoing spiral. All right. So we're getting real woo-woo. My mom texts me one day this week, and she said that my uncle had called her very upset, crying, and said, I'm going to do my best to keep names out of this. My brain's fried, so I'm trying. But anyhow, called her very upset, saying that while wide awake, saw my dad, again, my dad, and my dad was warning him to warn my mom, just to warn her and to be careful, and kept saying number two. And she's like, what does that mean? He's like, I don't know. So then she's like, well, if you could try and clarify, that would be fantastic, which if you're in this world, it doesn't always work like that. The next morning, the same thing happens. And so he goes, what am I supposed to be sharing? And again, he goes, this is really important. It's dire. Number two. And so at this point, when my mom tells me this, I immediately think in the moment, something's wrong with number two. And so the night before this, a couple things happened the night before this, but the night before this, we had a really bad storm, like tornado status winds out of nowhere. So my first thought is something bad happened at the lodge, because we call them building 1, building 2, building 3. So I took it as building 2. So I'm like, did a tree fall on it? Is it on fire? What happened? I took it literal. So I fly out there. I'm going out there trying to figure out what's going on. I call the maintenance man. I was going to get there first. So I check everything out and I don't notice anything. I'm like, okay, this is really strange. What the heck? So then I'm talking to my mom and I'm like, because then she's thinking it has something to do with her. She went right to, I'm going to die. I'm the next one. I'm number 2. I did not get that. And I'm like, okay, that's not what's happening here. But I'm like, okay, because I don't know if I ever shared this with you guys, but our house in Ohio got completely destroyed. A pipe froze and completely destroyed the house and rental property in Ohio, which was super bummer, super upsetting because my dad also built that. And we're talking down to the studs, the walls are stripped, the floors are stripped. We're down to the foundation. And it has to be completely redone. There was no saving anything. So it's going to look nothing like any work that my dad did. But anyhow, it was the whole lower downstairs. So my mom's upstairs on the second floor. So then she's like, well, I'm on the second floor. Does it mean that? And I'm like, I don't know, call the gas company, see if they can just make sure there's no leaks. Are you feeling okay? She's like, I feel fine. Nothing was wrong. And so she's like, okay, I'm coming home today. She was going to come help with the retreat prep anyhow. And I obviously wanted her to be closer to home, just so I felt better. But so also that night before, I had a weird dream that I was at the lodge and I was being attacked by birds, like all kinds of birds, all the different kinds. There was a peacock sitting on the hill, eagles, hawks, owls, all the things. And they chased me into building 2. So at this point, I'm like, what the heck? Like, this all ties together somehow. I just don't know how. And so story continues. Oh, I talked to my cousin about this, and my cousin was like, okay, well, I'm getting the nudge that it's about the second child. And I'm like, well, I'm the second child. So I'm like, what the frig is going on here? A week prior to all this, my dad gave me a message that I needed to be careful because I was under attack, or I was going to be attacked. But I didn't think too much about it because things have been good. Things have been feeling great. Like, I felt fine. I've been taking my daily energy baths. I'm clearing my space and my energy every day. Like, everything's good. So, but back to this situation, obviously I was like, okay, this is serious. Also, to give some perspective, so like my uncle isn't like me, like he's not into this stuff as far as I know. But again, we all have gifts, whether we think we do or not. And obviously the message was very dire and my dad needed to get it through. Why he didn't come to me, I'm unsure. But and that also, speaking of, made me nervous because I'm like, okay, well, if it had to do with the lodge or if it had to do with me, I feel like he would have come to me or my mom because we're closest to the lodge and my mom could tell me. Like, for him to come to my uncle was odd to me. And my uncle is also in Ohio. So I'm like, okay, that made me concerned for my mom. So I was also extra happy that she was coming home. But anyhow, what I was going to say is right before my dad passed away, well, a year prior to my dad passing away, my aunt passed away. And so right before my dad passed away, my uncle said the same thing happened. And my aunt appeared to him and said, you need to warn Scott, my dad, you need to warn the family something bad's going to happen. And right after that, my dad passed away. So like, I knew this was serious. I knew not to take this lightly. Like, I don't take this stuff lightly anyhow, but like, I knew this was important. Okay. So I'm talking to my cousin and I'm like, I really want clarity on this. Like, what is going on? So, okay, I get a download. This is the message that I get, and I'm going to read it because since it was a channeled message, I don't like, it was foggy to me. Right. So the message that I got was, I work really hard as a light worker to bring light and awaken others to their truth and to encourage healing, which brings change to the world. So much though that the spirit realm has taken notice, and the darkness that's also there does not want that. I am strong, but losing her would really derail me and all the efforts I work so hard for with myself and others. The darkness is finally losing and they're getting desperate. They'll do anything to stall and bring pain. And I think that was my dad's message, to be aware that I'm under attack, was like, the dark is out for you, girl. Okay, so this happens. Nothing happens to my mom, right? Everything's safe. So then I'm like, okay, what else is it? Like, I'm still trying to decode the message. So then Britt's on her way up for the retreat, driving up from where she lives. And she was like, Dee, I just got a message from your dad. And I looked down and it was 3:33, which we all know at this point is my dad's, like, this is how he speaks to us, right? So he says, Brittany, I need you to give a message to Deanna. And I'm like, is this really you, Scott? And she said, because she heard another weird voice. And he said, yes, but tell Deanna to be careful. And she asked, could you tell me what and why? And he said, no, because they won't let him. But the darkness is seeing her light and doesn't want it to shine. And this week is going to be really a hard week for her. I'm guessing, like you had mentioned before, you're under attack. And then my dad said, this weekend is actually a gift to her because she's going to level up a lot, but leading up, it's going to be really tough. And then she said that was it. And she had a visual of him being like pulled back. So now I'm like, okay, what the frig is going on, right? Like, this is crazy. I started to get nervous. Like, I actually had several Reiki attunement student sessions, and I was like anxious for the first time ever doing them. Not because I'm scared of it by any means, but I was just so nervous about protecting my energy because I took that message as like, this is a very sensitive time for me, and I need to be extra careful and very mindful. And so did my sessions, everything was great. I'm like, awesome, because we're coming into a super powerful weekend with the retreat. Like, and it's so funny because so many people canceled from this retreat, and it was smaller, which we knew it would be because the weather is still cold here and it's totally unpredictable. And we knew going into this that there was only going to be a very select few who were going to be coming to this weekend, because this weekend was going to be so powerful. Like, it's landing on Earth Day weekend, a new moon, which was a solar eclipse, like extremely powerful. We've been feeling the energies. Solar eclipses tend to be very chaotic. The energy is chaotic. Like, there's just craziness happening, and everyone around us has been like in chaos and like falling apart. And we've been good. I mean, like, we've been on this journey for a while, so we know how to have really good energetic hygiene, especially people who have no idea about any of this stuff. Like, they're a whole mess right now, right? So we're just being super mindful. So anyhow, like, there's so many pieces and parts to all of this that like I'm going all over the place. So I apologize, but stay with me. So anyhow, we're up at the land today. We're getting everything ready. We're getting the retreat space ready. Like, something catches my eye when I'm setting up a decoration, some decor somewhere. And the plywood that makes the barn itself, all over the wood, plastered everywhere, says number 2, like NO.2, number 2 everywhere. So I'm like, Britt, look at this. So we're like, okay, it's definitely like this weekend's about to get crazy, right? And so back in like March, the lady that I learned how to be a spiritual coach from, she's also an angel healer. She reached out, or we chatted, because she's holding a retreat as well, the same exact dates. And so she was like, I find it really incredible, and I'm so proud because my angel guides specifically told me that my retreat needed to be this weekend because it's a really powerful and important date, like time, and it's all hands on deck. And so we were guided to the same dates as well, which is crazy because we had picked totally different dates, and then out of nowhere we changed them. And we're like, even though it's earlier in the year, which means it's probably going to be smaller and it's probably going to be cold, we just felt really called to these dates specifically. So we're like, all right, we know like this is big. And so I wasn't going to share this on the podcast. We're going to go real deep, guys. Like, we're really going there. We're going there. But so like we knew what we were going into, right? But our breathwork facilitator, and she's also a shamanic healer who I've gone to a bajillion times, she reached out and was like, I had a dream. This is 2 nights ago. She's like, I had a dream that everything was on fire. And then last night I had a dream that my dog got burnt. And so I was like, okay, this is strange. Like, what's going on here? And then I opened my Instagram, and this, she's like an ascension coach and a channel and a medium and a Reiki master, all these things. She has all these different gifts. And she did a reading for a client. And the clients, when she tried to tap in, the client's energetic guides were like, this is going to be a really powerful message. I'm going to let you in to see this, but know that like it's going to be rough. And so she's like, okay. And she shows the healer the earth on fire. And just so you're aware, not our actual earth. So she showed her that on a different timeline, earth was literally on fire, and all the realms, all the dimensions, all the energetic beings of the light are like, all right, we're coming in, all hands on deck, all the angels, all the star beings, everyone, everything, everyone's coming in because they're like, we need to save Earth. Like, on that dimension, in a parallel existence, Earth was literally on fire because we blew up our own dang planet, like war, hate, all of it. Like, we lost, game over. And so they're coming into our real Earth, like this reality here and now, right as we speak, to save Earth. And like, look around, things are fucked. Like, things are really bad, right? Like, It's not that hard to believe, even if you're like, whoa, Deanna, that's way out there. Parallel lives, dimensions, beings. What are you talking about? Like, it's really happening. And so this weekend's I'm telling you all this because this weekend's about to be crazy. I don't even know what we're walking into. But I guess this is like my word of the evening, all hands on deck. Like, we are prepared. We're ready. Britt and I have been saying, like, really feels like we're going into spiritual battle this weekend. And I mean, we are. Like, look at what's happening to our children. Look at what's happening to this planet, like Mother Earth herself. Look at what's happening to the animals. Look at what's happening to the air, the water, the people, the wars. Like, we are on fire without being on fire. Like, things are bad, but don't let this spiral you into fear, because at the end of the day, the light has already won. Like, we have already won the battle, and we are so supported. And this is why I speak my truth. And this is why I follow this path, because it's my divine calling. And even if some of y'all think I'm batshit crazy or you're just not there yet, that's okay. We're at different places of our journey and awakening for a reason and on our own timeline. And I respect that. Even if you think I'm insane, I respect that. Like, you're just not there yet, and that's okay. I love you anyhow. But like, we're in it. We are in it. And I'm here to put in the work. And I'm so grateful that I'm called to this life and that me and Britt are doing what we're doing. And I'm so excited for this retreat. Nervous, if I'm being honest, but excited. And it's going to be amazing. Oh, one last thing. My mom told me today, she was like, remember that dream you had, Dee? And I'm like, yeah. And she said, well, I found a dead dove in building 2. How it got in there, couldn't tell you, because that lodge has been closed since the end of the season. And she was like, and it was the strangest thing. Like, it was dead, but it was like in full form. Like, she's like, it didn't smell. It wasn't like, with like deflated. I can't think of the right word. She's like, it wasn't crispy. It was just like, you could tell it had been dead for a while, but it was almost like it was petrified. And doves are messengers. They're messengers from the spirit realm. So I'm like, don't love that. Just another like warning for the weekend. So anyhow, that's all I have to share. I have so much that I need to get done. This episode went on longer and much deeper than I expected. But I know that it needed to be shared. And I wanted to share the before so we can have the comparison of the after. And Bert and I will definitely be on to share about this retreat. Our next one is July 14th to 16th. So if you were not able to come, definitely come to this next one. It's going to be the most beautiful. We do so much healing, so much beautiful, just amazing, powerful healing, and so much transformation and abundance and connection and growth and answers. And it's incredible. So we'd love to have you at the next one. But until then, I love you. Do not spiral. It's going to be okay. Have the best day. Have the best week. And I will see you next Monday.
Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. If you want to find out more, you can follow me on Instagram at Empowered with Deanna and my personal page, Fit Deanna Lolita. You can also visit me on my website, which is deannamerlinofit.com. Make sure that whatever platform you guys are listening on, please rate and subscribe. And this means so much to me. It's going to help get me out there to help so many other people. I'm so grateful that you're here with me on this journey of wellness and self-empowerment. I cannot promise that it will always be easy, but I do know that it will always be worth it. Stick with me, and together, let's start living as the version of us that we were meant to be. Because the world is waiting for your gifts, and you deserve to live the life of your wildest dreams and beyond. So friends, let's get empowered.